as I said, guys, welcome to this session. It's not going to take too long. It's going to be really quick. It's just to give you a bit of information about trading news, essentially, when it comes to Forex. Yeah. Okay. My slide is not moving for whatever reason. Oh, perfect. It's moving now. Okay. Basically, what you digest. I should say the word digest. I don't know whether you'll learn, but it's up to you if you learn, actually. It's totally up to you. So what you take away today is what news is, where to read it, different types of news, how news affects the market. And I think there'll be one or two examples to show you on screen. Okay. Now, what exactly is news? I mean, I'm not going to explain what news is. I'm sure everybody knows what that is. It's pretty self-explanatory, but it helps you. Well, it helps those who trade from a fundamental perspective to understand their directional bias. I believe most of us, myself, Sam, and a few others in this Zoom, are technical traders. When I say technical traders, I mean we look at the charts, we look at the candles, and we place our trades based on price action and what we see. I mean, we do consider news as well, but generally speaking, and most of the time, the trades go our way, with or without news, because we would have already done our analysis to begin with. But I will take you through. If someone's not on mute, Ade Wale, can you put yourself on mute, please? So I'm just going to pop him on mute if possible. Okay, I've just put him on mute. Sorry about that, guys. Okay. Now, when you trade, when it comes to when news announcements are made, it does require you sometimes to make quick decisions, especially the ones who trade based on fundamentals. But as I said, with technicals, you don't really need to really worry about what the news is saying, because you're usually on the right side of the market. But for fundamentalists or fundamental traders, you really need to make quick decisions, as whatever decision you make will impact your trade, essentially. Now, what is a Forex economic calendar? It's basically different websites where you can go to learn or to read about upcoming important news. It's very useful for traders because it does shape their analysis or their fundamental analysis. Now, news is scheduled at various different times, whether it's every month, every week, every day. It just depends on the news, right? And I've listed out some areas. When I say some areas, some websites, not even areas, where you can essentially go into and check what's up for that day, basically. The one I like, my go-to one, is my FX Street and investing.com. They really, really take their time and, give us a deep dive as to what's going on in the economy. So I would suggest that you save a couple of these websites on your favorites and refer to them on a daily basis. So in the morning before trading, that's exactly what we do. We just go into Forex, my FX Street, investing.com, Forex Factory, and we check out what's going on, basically, from a news perspective. So knowing how to read news is really important. Like I said, from a fundamental perspective, because it will allow you to maximize your analysis and your trading strategy, right? Prior to any important releases. So checking the calendar every morning will allow you to familiarize yourself with any upcoming events that actually matter, right? So what are the types of key releases that you could potentially have? Okay, there are different types of news, not limited to these ones that I've listed here. There are various different types, but you will come across a lot of these. You will come across like your interest rates, your NFPs, which is probably one of our favorites, I'm sure. For those people on this call, we love it very much and we know why we love it. CPI news, inflation, GDP, unemployment rate, Fed speech. That's FOMC, by the way. That happens, I think, in the evenings usually. So there are other ones, but obviously I didn't list all of them. But you can check out the ones that I haven't listed on those websites. But I just wanted to highlight like the high impact ones, the high impact news. And when I talk about the high impact news, I mean like the news that will shake the market, shake the economy, shake the currency, or shake your charts, because that's what you're looking at. So it's important to bear this in mind. And it's also important to when you go on those websites like my FX Street, you look at the high impact news. It's always in a red box, and I will show you what it looks like for those who don't actually know what it is. I will show you after this presentation, basically. So it's important to check high impact news, as sometimes, like for those who are still very new, or those who are not so familiar with technical analysis, can easily get whipped out like a whiplash, basically, can fall on them basically. So it's important to just bear it in mind. If you don't know how to trade news, keep away from news. If you don't have the right strategy, the right technical strategy, please keep away from news, as you will get burned. So I just wanted to make that clear. Another thing I wanted to say is, depending on the current state of the economy, the relative importance of, some of these releases may change. For example, which one shall we take? For example, say like unemployment rate, right? It may be more important this month, and the next month it may be less important. I think it just depends on what's going on in the country at any given time. So just wanted to highlight that. Okay, so I'll go really quickly because I'm conscious of your time. Don't want to take up too much of your time. So I've given an example for those who want to take away key learning points here. So for example, interest rate. We all know what interest rate is. So I probably wouldn't really go into detail as to what it is, but it does affect the market. Generally speaking, interest rates cause a country's currency to appreciate against foreign currencies, because there is like an increased demand for domestic money. Now, when the central bank raises the interest rate, commercial banks usually hand off the higher rates to like businesses or consumers, whoever, which means that there will be better returns on savings. And when there are better returns on savings, investors tend to keep their money in savings accounts. Basically, so they switch from like the higher risk assets. So like, for example, your gold, which is, high risk. They switch from that to like, putting their money in the savings account. So that's where you probably see that when interest rate goes up, gold, for those who are gold traders, this is useful. Gold may potentially go down. Now, where the interest rate goes down, basically, where there's a cut, there tends to be like a decline in the value of a currency. So it becomes less attractive to investors, basically. So people tend to pull their money out of the bank and invest in like the higher risk assets, right? So that's when your gold, for example, goes up. Yeah. So it's important to bear that in mind. I mean, anything could still happen, because it also depends on like the country that you're looking at. So if it's USD, sorry, not USD, if it's America, United States, whether it's Britain, but generally speaking, there's always like a negative correlation between the two. And I hope that makes sense. I think there's a question in the chat box. Why is there a negative correlation in the relationship? Where is there a negative correlation? Ugh. Negative correlation in the relationship between gold and interest rate. You're putting me to the test. This question. Okay, I guess sorry, who was that? George. I don't know that name. But okay, I guess this is because um of the rising interest. Well, it's a hard question to answer. I think it's because rising interest rates make stocks or, like government bonds and other like investments more attractive to investors, and lower interest rates makes, some of these alternative assets less appealing, so therefore driving investors towards gold and increasing demand and the price accordingly. And gold is seen as a store of wealth for times of financial difficulty for this reason. So yeah, that's basically the answer to your question, George. Is it okay? So moving on to the next slide, I'll go really quickly. This is just about inflation. You would also come across inflation in your daily trading, basically. Inflation is basically the overall rise in the price levels of an economy over a set period of time, therefore reducing the purchasing power of a currency. Yeah. So I don't want to go into too much detail. So it's basically what you're seeing on screen at the moment. Ugh, more questions, guys. What is this? Okay, it's just thanks. Okay. It's basically what you're seeing on the screen, and it's controlled by like the monetary the fiscal policy and like the monetary supply. Um Now you would probably ask, what is the relationship between gold and inflation, or maybe USD and inflation? Um, from my understanding, the impact that inflation has um, on the time, as in the impact it has is that it decreases the value of dollar over time. This is because inflation reduces the currency's buying power, which weakens it against like other currencies, basically. Hope that makes sense. Oh, can you shed more light? Who is George? Can you shed more light um, on how inflation is controlled? How inflation is controlled? Okay. Um, Now, I don't claim to be an economist. I do understand it to some extent. Inflation is controlled by like central banks and governments, yeah, and they use like a variety of methods to either increase or decrease the rate of economic growth. And you see, I've mentioned like the main tools that they use. So they use the monetary policy, for example. So when interest rates are hiked, it reduces the demand in the economy and should lower inflation. So when interest rates are low, on the other hand, consumers are more likely to spend um, money and inflation rises. And then with fiscal policy, um, so basically increasing tax can reduce like consumer spending and lower demand and reduce the overall levels of inflation. And then with monetary supply, um, when monetary supply increases faster than, say, like production output, it just means that there is more money trying to buy the same amount of goods. Yeah. So this imbalance between demand and supply can drive up prices. So, you've probably heard it in the news, I don't know, but, maintaining a steady monetary supply is key to, preventing any sort of like runaway inflation, if that makes sense. Yeah. So I hope I've cleared up that question. But yes, Beth Sanders, could you go into detail as to what causes oh, could you go into detail as to what causes inflation? Um, I mean, it's caused by either high levels of demands, like which happens when the economy grows too fast, or like your supply side factors that boost like the cost of goods and services. That's just the simplest way to put it. I hope that makes sense to you. Sam, do you want to unmute yourself and go through the slide? I think I've been talking too much. I don't want to bore people too much. Do you want to go
Yes,
through the next slides?
exactly. I think you've done more than what is required or what is necessary in this training anyway.
Do you want
Okay.
to speak up of it? Yeah.
Yeah, I think you've done the necessary thing anyway. Just take it off from there. What's the next slide? Let me see.
The next slide is about like the gold trade and the USD CAD trade and the NFP.
Okay. Basically based on some of this trade that we took on NFP, and then some of them are what do you call it now? CPI trades. Like I used to say to my students that are mostly we don't usually look at okay whatever price want to do during news, where is market going, just selling or buying, okay, before we know how to make money from news. The most important thing you need to do, that's the reason I said Tony has done even more than what is necessary, okay. Looking at okay the inflation, of course, inflation and those things are not even what you need to know before you can make money in the forest, even during the news. You don't need that, okay? If you are very sound in your technical analysis, okay? So the major thing is know how to analyze the market. And yeah, it is very okay that you need to know when the news is going to happen and which news is going to happen, rather. So to know if to know the currency pair that the news is going to affect, okay? And basically, you want to know if you should be active in that particular moment that the news want to happen, or to just be out of trade. Some people don't like trading when news is happening. They just want to, go off charts. And some of us, we we are already in a trade before the news happened. We've done all our analysis before the trade happened, before the news happened, rather. And like she said, yeah, the trade will mostly go in our way because what news does is not to scatter the market like some people think. It's not to, it's not for them to manipulate like what people think. It is actually to make what should happen, to make it more faster. It is what's supposed to happen in the market, okay, that happened during the news. But because the smart money now, let me put it that way, they know what is going to happen. They know where the market is going. So they pump money at that moment so that it can go faster. So they've had, okay, price should go to this particular price, but they don't have, they can't do that during the day when nothing is happening. So they take advantage of the news that want to happen to pump money into it so that it can get there faster in their own direction. Okay, but the way we trade is just to follow the footstep of the institution, right? Follow their footstep, know what they want to do by your own analysis, and just enter your trade, and then just allow the trade to just play out. Okay, so you don't need to be thinking in a way of okay, news want to happen. Should I just go and buy? Should I wait for the news to just open? I just want to see where the market is going. I'll just enter buy at that moment, so I will just follow it. So all those things make people lose money. Okay, that is not how to trade news at all. Some people do something, they said buy and they said sell, so that they want to edge their trade during news. All those things, if you are doing it without knowing how to properly trade, you will waste your money. Okay, so the best thing to do is analyze the market based on the way you do it, and set your stop loss. Another thing that we actually encourage students to do, or encourage people to do, when you have entered market and then the news open, high impact news open and start moving, you can break even. Let's say it is moving in your direction, you can just break it even, so that if the trade is going to come back, it won't take anything from you. Okay, and also you can actually take partial. Let's say the market is moving in your direction. You can take part of the profit that you've made immediately the price start moving. There's a way to do that on either on MT4 or MT5. Just take partial and then leave the rest on to wherever the news is going, so that you can benefit from the move of the news. Okay, and based on what she said, this is an example of the trade that we took this last NFP. I think there's another trade I took on the USD card. I don't know if the slide is here. Exactly. This is one of the trade I took personally as well. I think I sent this same trade to the group, to the community that day. Yeah, I do. So all these things are not difficult to do. Okay, let me show you guys an app to just know how to do that. Know the news, the high impact news. I don't know if Tony has done that already before. Anyway.
No, I haven't done that at all.
Okay, good. So let me just show you guys how to do that so that you can know. You can just allow me share screen.
Yeah, you can share screen.
Okay. Thanks, yeah. Okay. Investment.com. All right, so I think she mentioned investing.com as one of the app that you can use to check the news. On this app, you don't have too many things. You don't have too much thing to do there. Just open it and then check the news. So simple as that. Let us open, and I'll show you guys how it works. Okay. For today, to show you that same day, look at it. I can check tomorrow. Can you see? I can check tomorrow's news rather. For today, this is the news that happened today, and based on my time, all this one here. Let me go back to the top. The only news that was strong today was this USD news that happened by 2 p.m. Now look, you can look at. Can you guys hear me clearly? Can you hear me clearly? Just let me know.
Can hear you clearly, sir.
Yeah, good. So you can see the time by the left hand side. You can see the pair that it will affect. Then you can see the name of the pair, the name of the news, right? The news happening. So if you want to know the news that have high impacts that can actually allow market to move faster, just look at the bull head by the left hand side. So we have those one that has just 2 bull heads. We have those one that has just one. The one that happened by 2 p.m., which is 14:00 here, has 3 bull heads. Okay, that one is high impact. That is US President Biden speaks. Okay, that is high impact news. All of that one that has 2 bull heads, 1 bull head, all those one are not high impact. You don't even need to disturb yourself about those news. Okay, let me see if there's any other one today. Yeah, that is the only news that has high impact today. That one that happened by 2. And of course, 2 is that is New York session. Okay, so price moved very fast at that time today. And let's see tomorrow to see if we have any high impact news. Okay, not for now, not for now. Okay. By 1:30 p.m. we have core CPI news tomorrow, which is USDP, right? 1:30. You can see that it's even show 3 times CPI. So it affects all USD Any pair that has Euro USD, GBP USD, USD card, any pair that has USD. These are just some example of pair that has USD. It will affect all those pairs.
Sorry, let me just say something. Sorry to cut you. For those of you who don't know what CPI is, That's the consumer price index. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And it indicates um when goods and services bought by households rise or fall in price, yeah, and it's mostly widely used as a measure of inflation, right? So it's like a massive shopping basket containing many of the most popular goods and services bought by households, basically, and as the price of the items changes over time, so does like your basket's total cost. I just wanted to add that in there for anyone who didn't know.
Okay, thank you for that. So I think that's just the major key thing that you need to know about how to check it. Is there anyone still confused about how to know the high impact news? You can just put that on the chat box if you have any issue with us, or if you have any question. Okay, good. So that's just let's see tomorrow for this news. If I have a setup, I might decide to just send one of them to the group. So just watch out for that tomorrow. All right. So Tonya, is there any other thing you want to add?
No, I didn't want to add anything else, but like it's good that we basically showed examples of, the trades that we're taking during NSP. This is basically how people make their monthly salary in 5 minutes, guys. I mean, it's not to draw you in with money, but you would not be trading in a Forex if money wasn't involved. So that was just to show you that news is powerful, but most importantly, having the right strategy is even more powerful because the right strategy can make you money. That's basically it.
Yeah, exactly. Some people are saying that they use investing.com. Okay, good. Someone says Forex Factory, good. The reason why I don't like jumping from one because there are different websites to check the news and then check the high impact news. The reason I don't like jumping from one app to another is because some of them gives you wrong timing, and then some of them gives you some of them you won't see the high impact news there that's going to happen, and it will happen, but you won't see it. So instead of me trying to confuse myself about the time that's going to happen or that, I just choose investing.com because I usually see it clearly there without any issue. Okay, and some of them you need to change the time zone to fit your time. Okay, to fit your own time in whatever country that you are. So, but investing.com usually automatically we set the time for you or set the date for you based on the time and the date rather based on the app. Okay, it is set to just help you do that without you having to try to set that on your own. So that's just the reason why I prefer investing.com. And if you are using one that is okay for you before, you don't need to change. You are not advertising investing.com anyway. So you can try to just use anyone that pleases you. So as long as you know how to check it, to know, I think Forex Factory usually use red to indicate high impact, right? Is that right, Tonya?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah, so to indicate high impact news. Some of them will not use bull headlight like this, like investing.com. Some of them will just even write it there, high impact, and then put it in red so that we can know. Okay. So that's all for tonight. There will also be another training coming soon. I'll let you guys know. That we'll be talking about chat and we'll be talking about structure and some other things. But I'll let you guys know. But before then, there should be a training also for some little things that some people don't know that can actually help you and improve your trading. Okay. So we'll let you guys know how that is going to be coming up. Just make sure you are active on the group because that's very important. Okay. So make sure you're active and make sure you respond to some things that you see there so that we can know that people really want the training or they want whatever content you are sending there. All right, so that is all for tonight.
Thank you guys for joining, and we'll see you on WhatsApp. Take care.
Yeah, bye-bye.